Hello, my lovelies. I wanted to make this farewell video because not only is it a farewell for this channel, I'm going to be shifting everything over to my other channel called The Last Few Pounds. So if you want to continue on in my journey, join me there. And I talk about fasting, but I also talk about a whole lot more. I talk about different ways to lose body fat. The last few pounds, of course, being indicative of just like when you've gotten down to it, you're in your last 5, 10, 20 pounds, depending on your size. And it can be just so frustrating because it's easier to lose the first, like, let's say if you're 50 pounds overweight, it's easier to lose the first 30, 35 than it is that last little bit to get you to where you want to be. So if you are interested in that, join me over there. This video is not just going to contain a farewell, but it's also going to contain different tips about fasting. For instance, in the description box below, I'm going to leave links to just about every video that I think is really important about fasting. That's the pros, it's the cons, it's, you know, basically what not to do when you're fasting, because you can harm yourself if you don't do things the right way. Also, the benefits of fasting beyond losing body fat, because there are so many benefits. Any sort of lengthy explanations about questions regarding fasting, and does fasting actually work to help you lose fat, and what's the science behind that say, because there is some confusion out there about that. Does fasting cause muscle loss? All of those questions, that I hope to answer those in the videos that I'm going to link to in the description box below. So please go ahead and feel free to take a look at that. I still plan on continuing my own fast 3 to 5 days. If you want to do a longer fast, I don't recommend it, but I can give you an alternative, something that I think that you can do that is safe. So some people, they will contact me and they'll say, well, you know, I would really like to do a 10-day fast on my own, a 20-day fast, a 30-day fast on my own. And I think that this idea comes from probably seeing other YouTubers that have done that. And some of those people are doing some very, very dangerous things. I saw some guy who broke his 30-day fast with a pizza. Okay, there is an article of this one gal who fasted for, it was at least 5 days. It might have been longer. I don't know. It was at least 5 days though. And then it seems like she broke her fast with a hard-boiled egg and died. Now, I don't know why that happened, but you have to be very careful about how you break a fast, more than you have to be careful about fasting itself, really. It's breaking a fast. If you do it wrong, it can be so dangerous. And just because it didn't happen to these YouTubers doesn't mean that it can't happen to you, anything dangerous. So just please, please be careful. If you want to do a longer fast, here is what I recommend that you do. When you fast, after, usually for most people, 2 to 3 days, they get into full-blown ketosis. Now, I'm not talking about autophagy. Autophagy can happen throughout the day. You don't have to be in ketosis for that to happen, so that's a different issue. But if you want to get into ketosis, once you're there, then your body is burning. I'm not going to say that your body is burning purely fat, but a lot more fat than it usually burns. And I think that if you want to keep that train going, what I recommend you do is that you plan 2 short fasts and bookend them in your, whatever period of time you're wanting to do this. So let's say you have a 3-day fast and a 3-day fast. In my opinion, 3-day fasts are super, super doable. I don't find them to be nearly as difficult as let's say a 5-day. I think there's a big difference between those 2 time frames. So if you do a 3-day fast, and let's say you have like 2 or 3 days in between each fast, well, then what do you do for those 2 or 3 days in between? Because you don't want to necessarily ruin this whole like ketosis wave. Like, you may as well ride that. But I don't recommend that people break their fast with animal products. Some people say, oh, break your fast with meat. I absolutely do not recommend that. I don't know of any science that backs that up. And if there is some scientific information out there that's peer-reviewed and not a BS journal article, feel free to either link it in a comment below, or you can just email it directly to me. I'll read it and I'll be happy to comment on that later. I'll come back from my farewell just to comment on that. Make sure that you're breaking your fast the right way. But if you do vegan keto, so I don't recommend that people do an animal-based keto because the evidence really doesn't show some good things. I mean, it depends on the article that you're looking at, but it really depends on the methodologies that those articles are using. And so it can be disastrous if done wrong. But if you do a vegan keto diet for those 3 days in between your bookended fasts, you can still ride that ketosis wave. And it's like you're in ketosis for then, you know, definitely your last 3 days, those middle 3 days, and let's say it took you 2 days to get into ketosis in the first place here. So that's like 7 days straight ketosis where you are optimally burning fat. So it's wonderful. And you burn, of course, more fast staying in ketosis on a fast than you do when you're eating keto, because then you're taking in all of that exogenous fat. So the question is, are you burning off more than you're consuming? And I think a lot of people really don't necessarily think about that, and I think that's where people go wrong when they're trying to eat a ketogenic diet, even if they're doing a vegan keto diet. If you overblow it with your calories and eat just so much that you're not burning off all that fat you're ingesting, then what's the point? If you want to know how to eat a vegan keto diet, I have a video on that, and I will put that here and probably in the description box below too. It is a long video. I think it's called Vegan Keto 101, and I go through a whole bunch of issues related to that. If you had questions about that, hopefully I will answer them in that video. And if you want to know what I eat, or what are some examples of things that I eat when I do vegan keto, I get konjac noodles. So these are 0 calorie noodles, and it's spelled Konjac, konjac noodles. And one brand I use is Miracle Noodle. You can pick that up seriously almost anywhere. I see them everywhere, but you can also order them online if you want to. And then I make sure that you open the bag, and it might have a kind of a little bit of a smell to it. So I always drain them and I rinse them off really, really well, pat them dry, and then I cook them in, usually I make a coconut curry. It's really good. I typically never get to enjoy a coconut curry because when you're not in ketosis, it's so fattening that if you're eating carbs with it, that you end up storing all that fat anyway. So I only tend to do that when I'm on a vegan keto diet. But that's what I do. I make myself a little coconut curry sauce, and if you use curry powder or turmeric powder, you want to make sure to put a little bit of black pepper so as to optimize the absorption of that turmeric. It's very good for you, but you don't get hardly any of it if you don't include a little bit of black pepper. Then I make sure to add a lot of veggies to this noodle dish. I add spinach, I add broccoli, I add onions and mushrooms. I just don't include any starchy vegetables, and I don't include any vegetables that can have more of a naturally high sugar content, like carrots, for example. I leave those out. But you can add bean sprouts, and I add a little bit of tofu if I want to, and that's a really great dinner that I tend to have. If I want to kind of eat a little bit more junky, then I'll have some, like fake meatballs or something, and pour a little bit of olive oil. And I know if you've been following me, you're like, olive oil, what, you add olive oil? I try to not do that, but I am about honesty, so every once in a while I will do that. And if I want to go really even healthier than the konjac noodles with a whole ton of veggies, I'll have a giant big salad, a huge salad. I'll have a whole avocado on that salad, and I'll put all kinds of raw nuts. So I don't add any oil at all when I do this. No oil, just raw nuts, a whole avocado, and I'll do my cooked mushrooms. I'll do some raw onion, and a little tiny bit of cooked beans, just a tiny bit, and some hemp heart seeds or whatever, and some flax seeds. I do all that. It's delicious, and it's super healthy. And for those of you who might say, well, Dr. Greger doesn't like vegan keto because you can't eat fruit. That's not true. I would agree with Dr. Greger. That was true, but avocado is a fruit, tomato is a fruit, and I have avocados every day when I do vegan keto, and I also have blueberries every day that I do vegan keto. So you can do this while eating some fruit. Just don't go overboard. That's all. And if I really want a dessert doing vegan keto, I do a vegan keto muesli, and I will link to a video that I have about that. What a shock, right? Right up here, I'll give you that video. Basically, I use coconut flakes as a good substitute for oatmeal. Even I might add a little bit of oatmeal in there, but sometimes I leave that out completely and just do coconut flakes, some ground flax seed, and some blueberries, and then I'm set with a little bit of soy milk, unsweetened soy milk. To top it all off, if I'm still craving something sweet at the end of the evening, then I will enjoy some dark chocolate that is vegan. And as long as you're getting the dark chocolate that's made with cocoa butter instead of regular animal fat butter, then you're going to be just fine. My favorite is the Vosges matcha dark chocolate. I'm an absolute sucker for this dark chocolate, and I'm really, really picky too. So I will leave a link to that below as well if you want to check out the exact type of dark chocolate that I use. Anyhow, it's a good way to extend your fast without being risky. If you want one-on-one help with fasting, then of course you can also email me about that. I check my emails a couple of times a week. The whole point about this channel is that it's a free resource to everybody. If you want to go along with some of my prior fasts and you want to see if you can, go along day 1 with my prior day 1, your day 2 with a prior day 2, that could be a great way to go ahead and get some, I don't want to say hand holding, but just some support, know that somebody did go through this with you. But if you want real-time support, that's fine. Email me and we can work something out. And then of course, if you have any questions about losing body fat, then feel free to join me on my other channel, The Last Few Pounds. Hit me up in a comment, and you can also, of course, email me. I mentioned that like 3 times, but seriously, feel free, do that. People are too shy. Getting emails makes my day. And even if you don't want to fast, there are lots of ways to lose body fat if that's something that you are interested in. I think it's something that a lot of us tend to be interested in. So go to my other channel, check out some of my other videos about losing body fat. And if you want some coaching on nutrition, and if you are wanting to get more toward a plant-based diet but just need that little bit of help, again, reach out and we can work something out, because that is my favoriteest thing to do. Please give this video a thumbs up. Some of you are very shy about leaving thumbs up, but it really does help out my channel. It helps to reach more people who might be going through some of the same frustrations that you may have been going through. And, let's share the love, everybody. I just love it. So thumbs up, leave a comment or a question below if you have it. Subscribe, I guess, in case I happen to change my mind and go back to this channel and post. I don't know. Don't forget to check out the videos in the description box below. Share if you have anybody who could benefit from this information. All right. I love you all so much. See you on my other channel. Bye.